Good morning again. So my second tool, and this is Paul Del Priore, is called Cruel to Be Kind. And this is actually a game. It's really neat, actually. And I would be using this for my civics class. I don't actually have a civics class. It's actually a unit in a hybrid class called Your Government, Your World. That particular class has a big unit on the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. I always am thinking of ways to engage children of potentially disenfranchised people that are minority or low income, which is the majority of who I teach. This is actually a tool that it's called, you can be found at cruelgame.com. And this particular game is very interesting. And in fact, I'm going to show you a clip on YouTube in a moment about more about it to get a better sense. It's free as far as I can tell, and its service is really to teach citizenship and sort of, I don't know, it reminds me of the most important things you learned in kindergarten. But basically what's going on in the game, and the technology part is feedback, mostly via email. But basically what you need to do is you need to be in an area, and it would be basically have to be outdoors within a given area, or it could, I think, be done in a mall. But basically what you have to do is team up with other people, and I have the complete rules here. And you have to have some booty, and it would be something you care about. They say like maybe an interesting book, foreign currency change, a postcard, something not invaluable, but something you're willing to part with, but it has something you care about in there too. So there are rules. You have to be in a public space. Like I said, a mall would be good. And basically you have these weapons, and the weapons are doing something nice. For example, praise your target's shoes, say something nice to them. And if you do that, you kill them. And there are points for doing that. Once you kill them, they actually join your team. And basically what happens is you end up like in two main final teams. And there are other more specific rules to it, but basically, to summarize, you get points for killing people, for collecting booty, and for surviving. Eventually, it ends up in two teams, and there's kind of two ways you could win. And one team would be a winner because they were people that were not killed. So it's kind of neat. It happens all over the world. And when I went on YouTube, I found clips, and it's really funny what they do here in Chicago because they actually disguise themselves as a tour guide. And so basically what's going on here is that you have to disguise yourself so that you don't so you seem like just anyone randomly in the area, and not look like you're playing the game. So I guess it's kind of good in that it's a civics lesson in how to be a nice human to one another, and you could actually host a game yourself. There are like the technology piece is that you actually communicate with an email person, and there's actually texting involved. Tells you meetup locations and such, and awards and your teammates ahead of time and all of this sort of stuff. So that's the the actual technology piece, but the actual game itself is sort of out in the real world. You could host a game, and you could run a game and organize it and everything. So it's pretty cool. It would make civics fun and government fun. Um, as far as its synchronous tools, there are real-time sort of stuff you do, including accessing maps, and interacting with other people on your team throughout the experience. Also, there's some asynchronous pieces where, like I said before, the actual organizers would be communicating with you before, during, and after the game in order to tell everyone what's going on and create the framework for the game. As far as my content, I think it could be a way just to sort of maybe introduce citizenship, introduce some rights and responsibilities in general, and caring for your neighbor sort of stuff, and just sort of set the tone for the unit, or set the tone for good citizenship. Um, Maybe I would use it as a beginning of the year activity. Um, or some sort of connection with maybe connecting it with some larger movements. I know Dr. Drayon had helped was in a class of mine with the disabled movement, the disabilities movement, and the civil rights movement, and I do something called the collective struggle, thinking about different civil rights movements over time. So I think that's how I would use it, and it looks like a lot of fun. It's definitely a risk, especially at a school, but I could probably use it in downtown Harrisburg. It sounds a little dangerous. I'm a little worried about that. Maybe in Strawberry Square, actually, in a more enclosed environment. And with a smaller, maybe a class at a time, try it and move on. It could be a really exciting opportunity.